The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Hello YouTube. I'm very cautious handling this anymore. But this information that I found here, I'm bringing to your attention, and I can only go by what I've read and heard here. And I want you to hear it, and you're also going to hear the person that put up the photos and the person that wrote the blog. And I'm doing this because I think there's a lot of you that don't know about this, and one of my Facebook friends sent it to me. Thank you, Rita. And I want the rest of y'all to see this and to hear this as well. So I'm going to shut up and let you hear it. Now, I may stop it in between every once in a while. We'll just have to listen and see what you think here.
Photos and commentary by Scott D. Larm, edited by James F. Tracy. An inquisitive couple's visit to Newtown, Connecticut. My partner and I became fed up with the mainstream media's depiction of what took place in Newtown, Connecticut on December 14, 2012.
Well, right off the bat, we can tell that we're not the only ones that is investigating this. And I'm fed up as well.
So on January 20th we traveled there from our home in Ottawa, Canada, in an effort to visit the sites and respectfully approach the locals. Before we even got off the highway, there was a display of dozens of American flags on the shoulder. There is a large tented memorial located just off the freeway. The tent had a sign on the outside, "Sandyhook Memorial Never Forgotten." Inside the tent was a chaplain, who asked that I not take any photos. There were hundreds of stuffed animals and candles, as well as children's art from around the country, if not the world. Inside was also a donation jar that was at mid-afternoon close to full of money. We signed one of the boards with condolences from Canada. I saw adults and children inside the tent on the 2 visits we made. No one was there who was impacted directly. I asked the chaplain if she had seen any children whom had been impacted. She did not answer. We spent January 21st in Newtown visiting the Sandyhook School and Sandyhook Volunteer Firehouse, Jane Rosen's residence, the 100 Churchill Restaurant and Pub, the Newtown B offices, as well as the Newtown Police Department. We found that the school cannot be seen from the front when coming down Riverside Road, which is the only access to the school passing the firehouse. This may explain why there was no media photos of the broken shot-out glass at the front. Dickinson Road was closed with layers of orange cones and numerous no trespassing signs. The entire school is now enclosed with fencing, barbed wire, no trespass and surveillance signage. The front of the school is entirely boarded up, which would be consistent with broken glass. The lettering from the front of the school, Sandyhook Elementary, is removed. The side door and other windows were not boarded up. No cameras could be seen at the front door or anywhere on the property. Jane Rosen lives next door to the firehouse. Thus Ms. Victoria Soto's students that landed on Mr. Rosen's yard had to come down Dickinson Drive and turn right, passing the firehouse.
So why did they pass the firehouse and go to Jane Rosen's house? Sounds like there's a monkey in this woodpile, people.
Get to Mr. Rosen's. A lady at the Rosen house would not answer the door when I knocked. We sat at the 100 Churchill restaurant for a couple of hours. There were about 10 people inside. There were about 100 drawings from children from around the country, if not the world, offering condolences and well wishes. No one was talking about these. My partner and I spoke with a couple in their early 20s for an hour or so. They were lifelong locals. Eventually they asked why we were in Newtown, and we told them we had heard of their tragedy. They did not comment further, and we did not push the issue. Later, I mentioned that I had read online, where some people had suggested that Newtown might have a lively satanic community. One of the 2 locals remarked, "I could believe that."
It sounds to me as if they get a very warm welcome. Does it to y'all?
We then went to the offices of the Newtown Bee, the community's weekly newspaper, where we spoke with the editor, Mr. Curtis Clark. Mr. Clark did not offer a warm reception and stated from the start that they were concentrating the paper's efforts on healing efforts, and that he had little time. I told him I was there to follow up on the Bee's report that stated, in part, a man with a gun who was spotted in the woods near the school on the day of the incident was an off-duty tactical squad police officer from another town, according to the source. I asked who this officer was, and why he was in the woods. Mr. Clark told me that there was a number of conspiracy theories floating around, and some of them even suggested that the shooting didn't even happen. Furthermore, Snopes.com debunks many of these conspiracy theories. I told Clark I was familiar with Snopes, but it was the Bee that reported that this was an off-duty officer prancing about in the woods on the day of the shooting. Clark would not address this report and became very agitated with me interrogating him. "I don't intend to discuss this any further with you," he said. Mr. Clark then referred me to the Newtown police for any additional questions. As I was walking out of the office, I overheard a lady on the phone explaining to a caller that there is an ongoing investigation, and referring the caller to Snopes.com. Next, we proceeded to the Newtown Police Department. After entering, I walked up to the glassed-in safety window, picked up the phone on the wall and asked the attendant on the other side if I could speak with the communications officer. I explained why. He directed me to the Newtown Bee. I advised him that the Bee had directed me to them, and he asked me to have a seat. The room was rectangular with doors on both ends. Then, a male and female police officer simultaneously entered through each door. I addressed the female sergeant, telling her I would like to know who was the off-duty tactical officer the Bee reported on December 27th. A male officer I was not addressing repeatedly ordered me to remove my hands from my pockets. The female sergeant
Wow. Ordered you to take your hands out of your pockets, and all you're doing is asking questions? My goodness. Sounds like someone's got their panties in a wad for some reason, doesn't y'all?
me that the man detained was the uncle of a student at the school who had gone to get his niece. I asked about the police scanner audio where the dispatcher reports that a caller from inside the school saw two shadows run by the gym at the back of the school. Additionally, an officer apparently arriving at the scene stated, "I've got sick. They are running at me down Crestwood. Crestwood Drive borders that backside of the school beyond some woods." The sergeant told me that this was the confusion of the day and that there were not two individuals. It was just someone that went crazy, killed a bunch of people and then killed himself, she said consolingly. "You have nothing to worry about. You are safe." I still wonder.
Well, guys, I don't know for sure. I can't guarantee anything that you just heard. I can't back it up other than what I've read here. And it is a published blog, and I reblogged this for them, and I am making this video from the writing that they put on the blog. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if it is extremely true, and I don't see no reason not to say that it ain't as of yet, but if this is true, this is some very good information, and you're seeing a picture of the front of the school doors that got plywood on them. Doesn't mean that the glass is broke. Doesn't mean that it isn't broke. Could be just closed off to keep someone from breaking the glass and enter it, since they've got it all boarded up and no trespassing and gates locked and chained and everything else that you see here. It's just my opinion, but this is just more evidence of things not adding up, folks. Things just are not adding up. You got to pass by the fire station before you get to Gene Rosen's house. Things just aren't adding up. So with that, folks, much love to y'all. Y'all have a good day. And much love to y'all. And, you know, I appreciate the people that send me stuff on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all my other feeds. So much love to all of y'all. And I'm sorry that I can't answer all of y'all sometimes, but I do my best. Much love to y'all.
If there's a blue pill and a red pill, and the blue pill is half the price of the red pill and works just as well, why not pay half price?